As much as I enjoy tackling the 100-hour projects with intricate code bases and advanced tactics, sometimes it's nice to just sit down for a couple of hours and put together something simple. Who am I kidding? Let's throw in a bunch of buttons and mechanics that I barely understand into the mix. That's the Chippio Industries way. The plan is to make a series of buttons on the player's screen that allows them to call in airstrikes of several kinds to their current location, and that starts with making the interface itself. I had a guide from my client showing how it should look, so I made a rough version of it with just enough refinement to make it recognizable and usable. I'm not a UI designer. I dropped in a script to detect button presses and forward them to the server. I didn't have to do anything else on the client side since I was handling most of the processing on the server for security reasons. I started simply with the server code by receiving the client's commands and announcing that they were received. I took the opportunity to test it out for the first time to double check that I hadn't made any mistakes. I like to get my projects to a point where anything works as soon as possible. Seeing the progress in action helps me maintain motivation. Now for the tricky part. I needed a jet to fly across the sky above the player. I chose a free open source mesh as my jet, dropping it into the storage area. In my code, I cloned the jet, moving it to the sky at the player's position a few hundred studs away at a 45-degree angle, and used Tween Service to translate it across the sky. I had to refine the numbers a bit to get the movement to look right, and wound up doubling the distance while decreasing the travel time by 6 seconds. I also think the long connected line of jets is kinda satisfying somehow. After a lunch break, I finally got to the best part, the explodey stuff. I used the same model for the rocket and the bomb, since the only real difference was their thickness. I updated the code to spawn a clone of the bomb in midair at the jet's position halfway through the flight. On impact with anything, an explosion would be generated and the bomb would be destroyed. I had to reference the wiki quite a bit for this part because it's been a while since I've worked with explosions. After fixing a bug because I forgot how basic functions worked, I successfully dropped a bomb on my head. So, yay? For some reason, I spent the next 5 minutes building some weird structure to better visualize the damage of the explosions. That was helpful for dialing in the numbers. It really just looked cool in my opinion. That's the only reason. It did help me fix a problem where the players were basically unaffected by the bomb unless they were literally hit by it. I designed the airstrike system to do more than just, well, strike. I added a feature that would drop ammo boxes at the player's feet. Of course, I didn't have an ammo system to connect to, so the ammo was just a featureless gray cube. Surprisingly, these proved to cause damage to structures as well. I guess if you drop anything from 100 feet up, it's bound to do some damage, especially if said thing is 27 cubic feet. But again, it was just so satisfying. The rocket functionality proved to be almost completely different from the bomb functionality, but in a good way. I used the same service to move the rockets as I did the plane, but it moved much faster. Just some quick code and wow, that's terrifying and flying sideways. Remember what I said about mechanics I barely understand? That's coordinate math. Fortunately, there is no better solution than trial and error, and after 3 tries I got it to fly straight. The rockets had a weird behavior where if they didn't hit anything by the time they reached the player's position, they would freeze in midair, not detonate until something touched them. Apparently I forgot to unanchor them, but man, doesn't that look eerie? Once I played around a ton with the rockets, I put in some proper flood control, limiting the strikes to about 1 every 4 seconds. After that, I moved on to what I expected to be the hardest part, bullets. It's not technically super complicated, but there are enough steps to go through that it gets boring fast. Thankfully, I tried a different approach that I actually wound up liking better. Instead of simulating the bullet path and then just drawing a trail along it, I created an actual tiny bullet and shot it at the speed of the rocket. Actually, most of the code is recycled from the rocket. So is the bullet itself. Still, I very much like the result. And then, at the end, I got to sit back and enjoy the beautiful chaos. Then I got bored again.